Hello everyone, Hexlex here with yet another Master Duel video. This time I've got a little more gameplay for you with Zoodiac Tri-Brigade once again. I was practicing with Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk as I showed off in my Bird Up video. I had that nice little win streak, but after that I lost a couple games in a row, mostly to me misplaying, and then, much to my surprise, I D-ranked from Plat 1 to Plat 2. Which I didn't know was possible until it happened to me. I'm used to like other card games like Hearthstone and Runeterra, where once you hit like Legends or Masters, you don't go back down. I mean, you can D-rank still, but you don't go back down to like the previous rank before Masters. But I guess Master Duel works a little bit differently. It kind of makes sense because you definitely don't have to play as many games to get to Plat 1 as you would have to play like to get to Legends in Hearthstone or Platinum in Runeterra, but as you can see, I did manage to make my way back up to Plat 1, and I also saved a few of the replays from that climb back up, and I figured I'd go ahead and show off. Everyone seems rather to like the Zoodiac Tri-Brigade videos. I am still going to be branching into other decks, but like I said, I saved a few of these replays for some of the better duels I had. I did misplay a little bit, honestly, on my way back up to Plat 1. I was playing a little bit sloppily tonight, but I still have some fun duels to show you here. So let's go straight into the first one. I didn't make a list like I did for the going second video, the last video I made, so I don't remember off the top of my head exactly which decks I play against each of these replays, but once the game starts, I'm sure I'll go ahead and remember. We got a pretty good opening hand here. I mean, we got the Ash and Imperm, we've got Chaos and Fractal, we've even got a Desires for later after the combo. Like I mentioned in the going second video, the use of Desires is going to greatly vary depending on if you're going first or second. If we're going first, we want to make sure that we start our combo before we Desires. Usually I like to even, if I can, I try to get like Revolt before I activate the Desires, because if you banish 3 copies of any of your Tri-Brigade monsters, or if you banish all 3 of your Revolt, you're kind of screwed. There's not a whole lot you can really do after that. But we're going to be able to go into a 3 material Appalachia here. We're going to be able to get Revolt, and then we're going to Desires. And we also have Ash Blossom and Max C, so we actually have a really, really good setup here. Oh, well, we send the Ash Blossom away. I sent it away because I had Appalachia. Yeah, ideally I would have Pot of Desires first, because then we would have like had something like this Ram to send away other than Ash. But again, I wanted to search my Revolt first because I'd already thinned out my deck by comboing, and if we banish all 3 of our Revolts, then we have no follow-up plays. Like, we can't go into our Omen, we can't trigger our Kit and our Nerval, which means we can't send or search. We just have like nothing. So Revolt is going to be pretty essential here. Now, our opponent's going to be playing, seems like a Thunder Dragon Invoked deck. I remember this matchup. I've never really played against, I've played against Thunder Dragons before, but not an Invoked variant, so I'd also never seen this card, Nemesis Corridor. I'd never seen this monster before, so I decided to negate its special summon with Appalachia, because I figured it was the start of a combo, and I guess I was right because my opponent just normal summons and attacks, but we're going to get to Chain Revolt. Our opponent plays Called By, and I'm not really sure why they do. I don't know if they thought like they could stop this Revolt with the Called By somehow, but no, Called By doesn't really do anything to me here. Now, if they had saved Called By for this moment, they could have negated like my Bear Brum, I guess, but it wouldn't have really mattered. Well, could they have actually, because we do the chain blocking here. Or no, I guess they are going to do it. They're going to stop Nerval, though. That's right. Yeah, no, chain blocking doesn't stop Called By here. What I mean by chain blocking is, you notice how I activated my effects in such a way that it went Bear Brum, then Kit, then Nerval, then Shureg. That means that since Chain Links and Yu-Gi-Oh! Resolve backwards, the last one you did, Shureg, will resolve first. So since Shureg's effect is the one that banishes a card, if we put that at the end of the chain, then if I recall correctly, I think this is right, then your opponent can't chain like Ash on your Nerval in the middle of the chain there, because the latest effect on the chain is Shureg's effects. The reason Called By works is because Called By doesn't need to be activated directly in response to the card to negate it. It just needs to banish the card from the graveyard. So my opponent was still able to just banish Nerval, and then when Nerval came up on the chain, then it was negated. But if my opponent wanted to Ash Nerval, again, I think this is right, they wouldn't have been able to do it there because they can't, again, chain the Ash directly to the Nerval. So we managed to keep our Appalachia around and banish their stuff, stop their combos by negating them. It's funny, our opponent, our opponent has this Thunder Dragon Dark in their hand, which has a quick effect, so in between literally everything I was doing, my opponent was getting prompts to do things too, and it scared me, because I was like, what hand trap do they have that they're not using? I don't know if it's one of the replays I saved, but I did actually play against somebody who had an Ash in their hand. I was doing like the standard like fractal combo, right? But I already had a Revolt in my hand. But since I had the combo, I was gonna send a Bearbrum anyway. So they let me do Fractal, Kit, Nerval. They let me summon, the Bearbrum, go into Rugal. They let me do all of that. But then when I tried to search with Bearbrum, then they ashed. They saved the Ash until the end. Which is funny, is if I remember right, I didn't even have a Called By. So if they had ashed my Fractal right at the beginning, they would just stop me altogether and I couldn't have done anything. But for some reason, they saved their Ash Blossom for the very end on my Bearbrum. When again, I already had Revolt in hand, so it actually didn't even matter. I guess it didn't matter how hard he tried. Laughing like that was funny. Our opponent's going to get to Ash this Nerval here, but it doesn't really matter. I actually did a bit of a reverse chain block here. Since Omen is the effect I'm really trying to resolve here, I set it up so that Nerval was the last chain, because again, I'm not really concerned with Nerval getting the search here. Yeah, at this point we're just going to switch our Zeus to attack and just smack our opponent for game. Pretty easy stuff. Okay, let's see. Next one is here. Again, I don't remember which of these decks. I could be looking at my opponent's deck actually before I show you the replay, which is something I always forget and is honestly pretty wild that when you save a replay you can look at your opponent's full deck. I didn't realize the game saved data like that. I mean, not that I think it's hard for it to do that, I just wasn't expecting it. But it's pretty interesting. Sometimes if my opponent like just concedes right away, or if my opponent will like set 2 back row, but then I combo off and win and they never flip them, I'll like save the replays specifically just so I can look at my opponent's deck, because I'm like, what the hell were you playing that you didn't do anything at all? So here it looks like we're going to be able to go into a very standard tri-combo unopposed. We're going to draw, the Ram and just put it back because we already have Thoroughblade. And then we're just going to go for our classic 3-material Appalachia here while we set up the Revolt by sending Bearbrum. I think we put back Thoroughblade here, I imagine. Yeah. Yep. So once again, we have a really solid setup. We have the 3-material Appalachia, we have the Revolt set, and we have Maxi and Ash Blossom, though our opponent's going to set a monster and then 3 back row, which is fairly intimidating. We're definitely going to want to Revolt during the end phase. We're going to want to use our Shureg's effect on one of the back row for sure. I'm not worried about the face down monster, especially since my opponent set a bunch of back row. I don't think it's something that's going to really wreck us if it gets sent to the graveyard as opposed to banish, whereas I'm, as usual, much more concerned with my opponent's spell and trap cards. As a rule of thumb, I generally banish the first spell or trap my opponent sets because, this game, okay. I usually banish the first spell or trap my opponent sets because I tend to think that, most people will set their most important one first. Now, obviously, if you have this mentality, or at least I do, I generally don't set my most important one first. I usually, set it second or third. I guess if any of you play against me now, you know that. Yeah, so our opponent's going to flip up a Fossil Dine in here. So they're playing some kind of, wacky anti-meta deck, which I think is really cool. I actually really like my opponent's deck. It's very rogue. It's not anything I've ever seen, but it's really neat. You might have noticed that we banished Metal Reflex Slime with Shureg, and sure enough, our opponent's got a second one here. I'm going to flip Maxi in response because I think this is about one of the only opportunities I'm going to get to draw off Maxi. we rip into a Desire, so I will see if I have anything to deal with the slime, but I don't. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see, is my opponent going to make like a rank 10 with this Metal Reflex slime? Like, what are they going to do with it? They're going to try to Extravagance. We're definitely going to want to Ash Blossom here. But yeah, I love the innovation of my opponent's little anti-meta deck. Yeah, so they tribute it here and they go into Egyptian God Slime, which I didn't know they had made this into a card. I remember this Merrick using this in the anime, but I didn't realize it was an actual, like, monster now. And you can see it's got battle protection. It gives your other stuff targeting protection. So, yeah, my opponent's got, like, the metal reflex slimes. They've got the Extravagance. They've got the Fossil Dyna. And Egyptian God Slime is admittedly kind of a cool boss monster for an anti-meta deck. So, even though my opponent's strategy wasn't really successful here, I'm, you know, the big meta deck bullying the innovative rogue deck. Yeah, I saved this replay mostly because I gotta give props to my opponent. I think their deck is really neat. They don't have anything there. What is? Oh yeah, they banished him face down. I was like, what all is in there banished? I want to see my opponent's deck after this replay. Let's take a look at it. I actually haven't looked at it yet, because I wonder if it's like, was it this guy? Yeah. Confirm opponent's deck. Let's see what they've got going on here. Oh, it was okay. So it was a Grin Maju deck. I've heard of these decks, but I've never actually played against one. Yeah, this deck just wants to banish a bunch of cards to summon a giant Grin Maju de Isra to wallop on people. Okay. Okay, so it is kind of a meta deck. Like, I mean, Grin Maju is a rogue deck, but it's like a gnome deck. I thought my opponent had like homebrewed this really cute little anti-meta deck. Okay. So I guess now I can say I've played against that deck. That's neat. Okay, third replay. Ah, yeah, look at this hand. We open one of each Tri-Brigade monster. That's like, mwah. Ugh, we're going to be able to do a lot here. Especially since our Fractal is standing unopposed, able to set up a graveyard super easily. Since we already have one of everything, we're just going to search for a second Fractal. We're going to set up our Karis, go into some standard combos here. As you can see, we don't have the Revolt, so setting up our Bear Brum here is especially important to go ahead and search that. I think I remember this game, because I'm pretty sure if I remember right, I kind of misplayed here. No, I remember this. Okay, so I gotta pause things, because what I did was a little bit wacky just there. I gotta explain my reasoning behind it. So, my original plan, because I was thinking about using, you might be wondering, why did you leave this Fractal? Why didn't you go into a 4-material Apollesia? Well, I saw the kit in my hand and I hadn't normal summoned yet. So originally my plan was to use kit to summon the Eagle, and just kind of have like an Apollesia and an Eagle set up, just in case my opponent was a graveyard-based deck. However, I drew this Tenki, and I realized, like, oh, Tenki, I haven't normal summoned yet. I can set up a Trident here. So that's why that's why I left the Fractal out. I guess that doesn't even really explain why I left the Fractal out. Like, I really could have just sent it for the Apollesia. That was just straight up misplay. But yeah, my original plan was to summon Kit and then make the Eagle. But then I saw the Tenki, and I was like, Tenki, Zoodiac monster. Oh, I can summon a Zoodiac and go to a Zoodiac play. But no, I totally forgot that since we used Bear Brum's ability, I believe it's Bear Brum that prevents us from... Yep, we can't special summon for the rest of the turn except for Tri-Brigade monsters. So I'm not able to go into my Zoodiac play. So that is a huge misplay on my part. Oh my god, this this replay was so sloppy. It kind of makes me wonder why I saved it, but I guess, I don't know. You know, I mentioned this in one of my other replay videos. It's so easy to, like, save only your best duels, right? Into, oh, and we're playing against Joker Knights here, which is my first time ever playing against this deck. But, it's so easy to save only the perfect replays. And we're going to negate King's Knight with Apollesia, so they don't get Jack's Knight, so they don't start, like, you know... Because I think they need all three, if I remember right, to be able to do stuff, so that's why I negate here. I don't know. In a way, I kind of want to humanize my replays. Like, I know I'm really only showing wins. I've showed losses when they're good, but a lot of times when I lose, I either get comboed out and or I misplay really badly. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to show a game where I misplay again as more like a humanization kind of a thing. And also to show, like, because I see it on ladders sometimes, and on occasion I'm prone to doing this myself, where like I'll play against an opponent, they'll misplay, not even like very, very badly, but like they'll misplay and then they just concede right away. But if your goal is to get up in the ladder and get up to Platinum 1, we want to be playing out all of our games, even when it seems hopeless, and even when we get frustrated because we misplayed. And again, a lot of the reason I wanted to show this duel is to show that, like, hey, you know, misplays happen, we all make them, and it's definitely still possible to win out of a misplay. Conceding as a result of misplaying is really only going to hurt yourself. It really is. Yeah, we're able to go into Shurag here because we have a fully set up graveyard. I'm going to go ahead and start banishing their back row because from here I'm going to be able to go into access code to get rid of their other back row, and then from there I'm going to use this Whiptail to make a Trident to pop their Queen's Knight so the Silver Moon Shield isn't going to end up doing anything. And then from there we're going to be able to attack for game, I believe, right? Yeah, that's definitely game. But again, yeah, you know, like I said, that's not only just a tip. That's just a general, like, game tip. Not even limited to, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or even necessarily just card games. Like, again, you know, it happens to me. I often get, not often, but there are some times where I get, like, so frustrated by my own misplay that I just concede. I quit the game. And there is a case for, like, you know, fatigue, gaming fatigue, right? If you play a game for so many hours, then sometimes it is just best to stop right away and just take a break. But there's no reason, at the same time, there's no reason to throw away winnable games. And the misplay I made might have been, like, embarrassing. That's kind of another reason sometimes why I personally just concede, is I have this feeling of, like, oh no, my opponent just saw me make a huge misplay, I gotta get out of here, and then I just concede. But, you know, that's not always, or not even ever really necessary. We got one more duel here. The other thing is, too, is it would have tilted me for the rest of my run, and I probably would have just ended for the night if I had conceded there, right? But since I didn't, and I played it out and I won, I was mentally, like, I didn't run into mental fatigue, right? I was able to keep playing, keep laddering, and get back up to Platinum 1. That's just a good laddering tip in general, really, is to just, you know, power through those losses and play the number of games you need to in order to get to Platinum 1, because it's ultimately a numbers game, right? Like, as long as your win percentage is above 50%, you will get to Platinum 1. You just have to play enough games. Obviously, the closer your win rate is to 50%, the longer it's going to take you. But as long as it's above 50%, you're going to get there eventually. So just keep playing. Like that's really the best advice I could possibly give, is just keep playing. So this is going to be a pretty sweet game. I'm pretty sure with this setup we can actually set up a 4-material Appalachia with a Trident and a Revolt. I'm pretty sure that's actually why I saved this replay, because this is like a, not necessarily once in a blue moon play, but this is like one of the more optimal ones you can do. Like 4 negates on Appalachia, a pop with Trident, and then set up the Revolt for more searches and a banish on our opponent's turn. I have no problem putting back impermanence here because, again, I have a 4-material Appalachia. Putting the Trident in defense mode is very important in case our opponent's got Lightning Storm, which fortunately they don't here. Looks like our opponent is playing a Shadal deck. We're going to go ahead and negate Squamata with Appalachia. We can be a little bit more liberal with the effects we negate because we used 4 materials. And I also know that Squamata is going to set up their combo there. So I decided not to get the special, but I definitely want to negate the search. And, I mean, really at this point, like, what can they do, right? They're going to summon Alistair. I'm going to negate that search as well. And at this point, all they can really do is, like, attack with the monsters they've got on board. Now, that is actually a bit threatening, given how low, like, of stats my monsters have, but I've got the pop with Trident, and I've got the Revolt here. However, I'm actually not going to banish the Alistair here. I'm more concerned with the back row. At the end of the day, I think that back row is more threatening. Like, I'm more scared of that back row than I am scared of losing my Appalachia with 1 more negate on it. At this rate, I don't think my opponent's going to have any more monster effects that are going to lead to a significant play, so I'm fine with letting my Appalachia die just to get rid of their back row, which I glanced at this briefly during the actual game. Yeah, I mean, this Dogmatica punishment would have destroyed one of my cards, so I'm really glad I got rid of it before my opponent got a chance to activate it. I was a little worried they'd set more back row, like maybe that was some kind of elaborate bluff on their part, but nope, it wasn't. So from here we can go into a second Shurag, we'll flip our Dryden into attack mode, and we'll just win the game. And I think this was actually... No, it wasn't. Wait, was this? I'm trying to remember if this was the duel that got me from Plat 2 back up to Plat 1. I don't think it was. I don't know why I didn't save that duel. It must not have been very good. You'd think I would remember that duel was like half an hour ago, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's my climb. Rather, those were some games for my climb back up to Plat 1 from Plat 2. A lot of the going second games from that video were also actually from that climb, but as you may have been able to tell, all those games were me going first. Those were pretty much all the quote-unquote leftover games. But yeah, now that I'm back up at Plat 1, I think I'm just going to keep practicing with Bird Up and some other decks so I can get some more videos for different decks out in the future. As always, if you have suggestions for videos you'd like to see, feel free to let me know in the comments. I do read those very often, and I am more than happy to make whatever you guys want to see. So thank you again for watching. This is Hexlex, signing out. Have a fantastic day.